And we are live with another episode of the Comedians of Entre Nos.
Hello, hello, hello.
As you guys can probably tell, that is not my co-host. Oh, this way. Boom. That is not my usual co-host, Orlando Leyva. But we have the producer of the Entre Nos series for HBO, the comedy half hours. Give it up for Edwin Licona. What's up, brother?
Hey, this is the second week in a row that I hacked the show, so
I know you're becoming a staple.
I'm getting used to it.
You're becoming a staple. Now, Orlando couldn't make it, and I love Orlando because I've known Orlando now, 2 years at least? Like really known him. Like we talk on the phone, we text, and Orlando's like such a private dude. Like he'll be like, "Yeah, I can't make it," but he won't give me details. He don't divulge what he's doing. He could be out there murdering people. We don't know. He could be robbing a bank. I don't know, but he just couldn't make it today.
He told us with the utmost respect that he just wasn't available today.
That's it.
I'm hopping on.
Gave me nothing.
Yesterday, same thing happened with you. We're switching. We're giving weeks off here and there. So hey, we all need that, mental health state, I guess.
I guess so. Well, sometimes you do like it. I get the mental health thing because after a while, I don't know about you, doesn't it feel like almost like Groundhog Day? Everything just feels repetitive. Like there are times I'm like, what day is it? And people are like, it's Thursday. I'm like, oh, what happened to Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday? I lost all focus.
Yeah. Listen, I don't know if I told you, but I lost my wallet and I don't know where I lost it. And I don't even know what I was doing. I can't recall the last time I saw it.
You can't even retrace your steps.
I can't even. That's how, like, even the most repetitive day, like, it's so repetitive that I really can't figure out anything different that I did to, like, hit me with, like, oh, it could be here, or this is what I could have done. So now I'm stuck. Like,
dude, I lost my debit card.
Huh?
I lost my debit card. We've been in the quarantine since March. I lost my debit card for a good 3-4 months. Wow. Lost it. It was gone. I didn't know where it was. What's up, Rhea? He's one of our usual listeners. So I lost it for months, dude. And then finally, this car wash opened up around here, and because we had all the ash and stuff, I took it to go get a car. My man found it in between the seats and put it in my cup holder, and I was like, "Well, there it is.
I have So yeah, I called all the banks and everything and the credit cards and nothing, no charges, nothing. Like, so it's been 24 hours and nothing's happening. So I'm going to guess that it's somewhere.
Daryl wants to know if it has money in it because he'll find it. Is there a reward?
Give somebody $100. Yeah, why not? If they find it, they have my ID on it. I already went to the DMV. I spent 4 hours at the DMV today getting the real ID or whatever it's called. So I had to deal with it.
What's going on, Nati, from Guatemala, all the way from the homeland?
My neighbor. I'm from Honduras.
Okay, stop trying to take credit. I'm from. I'm half Guatemalteco.
I'm like half Guatemalan too, so I don't know how legit that is. I gotta find out, but hey.
I do. I went and I got my ID at the DMV. Now this is what bugged me. I didn't get a real ID, and I wanted to fight the person. I don't know because you gotta take a birth certificate, copy your birth certificate, and social, right?
Yeah. And then like a bill that has your name and the address.
So listen, I went.
I got lucky.
I went.
Go ahead.
I went. My license had expired, and then there was some ticket on it that I couldn't. It was a whole process to finally get my license. So I get my license. I go. I've got the bill. I don't have a copy of my birth certificate because as much as I asked my mother to send me my birth certificate, she don't send it to me. I don't know why this woman refuses to give me my paperwork. And when she keeps it from me, I'm like, Mom, send me my birth. No, mijo, because you're going to lose it. I'm like, well, I don't even know if you have it. I need
It's old school, man. It's old school, bro.
And it's not like my mom has a safe at the house or a safety deposit box. She's got it hidden somewhere in a jewelry box. I gotta go find it. Anyway, so I go down to the DMV. I've got my passport with me. Because the one time I did have a copy of my birth certificate, I got my passport. The woman wouldn't give me the real ID. She goes, you need a birth certificate and you need a social security card. And I was like, well, how do you think I got this passport?
Yeah.
The passport should count for the birth certificate and social security card. And she was just hell-bent on saying no to me. I was like, listen, I should be able to, passport is enough. Nope. I almost, this is why I understand when people fight and get frustrated with the DMV people. Like part of it, I get like they're working and I'm all like, I don't want to upset you. Yeah. But little things like that set me off, dude.
And I had the passport, I had the birth certificate, and then she said, you need one more item. You need to show 2 proofs of your residency. And I just got lucky. I was like, I had my backpack with me and I just started going through the backpack. I was like, does my DMV renewal count as one? Like, yep. All right, here, got one. And then I looked for another bill, popped up. Does this count? Yep. So I got lucky, man. If not, I wouldn't have to.
Sometimes it's common sense. Sometimes it's common sense. Like I get so frustrated with people. Like I get that they're doing their job, but sometimes it's just common sense. Dude, the other day I went and my wife, we drink a bottle of wine. We have a little wine with dinner. I went to Target. I forgot my ID. I go, first of all, just look at my face. I'm over 21. I'm paying, dude. I'm paying with the Target red card. This woman's like, do you have ID? I was like, oh, I forgot it. I was like, she's like, I can't sell it to you. I was like, oh, but I got the Target red card. She's like, I was like, what child is trying to save 5% at Target? By the way, you see on the belt, I got like goldfish cracker. I got snacks for the kids. I'm like, come on, just do the math. Target red card, no 18. I will put money on it. Nobody under 21 has a Target red card.
Yeah.
Only real adults are trying to save that 5%.
Listen, I get it. I get it. People are just trying to do their job, but I do get the common sense part. But I do also understand that they're just trying to do their job. I get it. I've had expired driver's license trying to get into a bar, and it's like 1 day from expiration, and I'm like, dude, come on. Like I'm waiting for it to come in the mail. Like, relax. And they're like, nah, I just can't do it. So I get it, man. I get it. They're just trying to do their job.
I get it, but sometimes, man, you just want that logic. You want that simple. Oh, put it together, 2 and 2. Okay, this dude's an adult. He got goldfish crackers. He got baby wipes, and he got a red card. He's got to be an adult.
Sometimes I'm just like, dude, look at my gray hairs, bro. Come on.
Yeah. Look at my face. Just look at it.
My face, bro. Come on, man. Don't you see like age and wisdom here?
Yeah, you see it right here. Yeah. Boom. Dude, I'll show you my phone. It's pictures of my kids. Sell me the wine.
Yeah, I'll show you a picture of me being a teen dad.
Yeah,
like me when I was a teen, and this is his graduation now. Look, come on, bro. Like,
I made people. Just give me the wine.
Yeah.
But I'm excited, dude. I'm excited to have you here because we've got a great guest today. You should be excited because this person coming on right now, she has her debut half-hour special coming out on October 9th.
This Friday.
So give it up for Shayla Rivera, everybody.
Woo-hoo-hoo! Hey guys, how are you? Both of you having a little too much fun there with your, No Shave November comes. It's not here yet.
I'm gonna give you the secret on what my beard means because I never go that long without shaving.
Okay.
I'm always clean shaven. Edwin, you've seen it.
Yeah,
always clean shaven.
I've seen it. I've witnessed it.
When I'm working on something and I submit it or I'm waiting on news, I just let it grow because I feel like it's bad luck to shave it. So I just let it. It's a weird thing I do. So my wife's constantly checking it, like, have they called? Because you got to get rid of this thing. This thing looks horrendous.
So your beard's an indication of how long you're going in between gigs.
Yep, exactly. Waiting on news. This is the waiting on news beard. And my wife's constantly like, did they email? I can't take this no more. You got to get rid of this thing.
And for me, I'm just letting it grow because it makes me look a tad bit slimmer. So I'll take anything.
Let me tell you, as a good Latino woman, I'll give you the secret for growing a good beard.
Wait, are you saying that your beard is skanks for your face, dude?
Hey, it comes. I just get the one hair right here. It's just really annoying. But yeah, I can. Come on, No Shave November is my favorite time of year. I shave nothing. Okay.
So I'm excited, Shayla. I'm excited for you.
Listen, we just skated by that.
TMI.
This is a family show. It's a family show, Shayla. We're not trying to hear about the chupacabra. We're listening.
No, I hear you.
So I'm excited. You have to be excited. This Friday is the day. It's do you have some special plan? Are you doing like a viewing party?
I am absolutely not viewing it.
No.
Most people. No, there's a lot of people that are gonna I have been invited to several actually viewing parties, but I don't know, you know how it is. It just feels weird to look at yourself. I don't know about you. I mean, Eric, you probably love to watch yourself perform more than I do.
I think Eric has seen his own special. I'm gonna throw out a guess out there. I think he might have seen it like 50 times already.
Wow, listen.
I don't know. I think he's the one that's making it trend on HBO Max just by himself.
And I think I caught Edwin. I said it's got to be difficult to edit when you're looking at this. Like it's.
You're not lying about that. Let me tell you the truth, Shayla. I sent him a screener link of his special, and pretty much rough cut, like 90% done. He texted me back saying, was it challenging for you to edit anything out of that special because everything was so funny? And I didn't even reply to that. I just said, wow.
I love it. Yeah, you have to have that kind of self-confidence that Eric has, you know? Yeah. I'm not sure about that. But you are a funny dude. Really
That's like me giving you, like Edwin, it's like me giving you an eraser and be like, hey, can you go erase the mistakes on the Sistine Chapel? You'd be there all day.
Okay. Wow. So I'd like to remind you that this is a family show. We don't want to be lying like this to the children.
Compared his special to that masterpiece. All right. But I also get what you mean, Shayla, because I always get invited to, hey, you got a new episode coming out. Let's go watch it at, well, not right now, but let's go watch it at a bar. Let's go do this. Let's go watch it. I'm like, man, I have no idea. I've seen that like 30, 50 times already. Like, give me, like, I just want to enjoy it now and watch it on my own, like, private viewing, and that's pretty much it, you know, just kind of celebrate the fact that we gave birth to it. But I get it. I understand it.
Well, I mean, editing is, takes a lot of time and a lot of effort, and you certainly, look at the thing a bunch of times and you'd have to get, tired of it. I'm just kind of, like, I'm not the only, shall I say, artist that says something like that, that it's just kind of hard to watch yourself. But there's, I've been invited to a bunch of, you come over here and watch it over here, and we're going to watch it over there. Let's Zoom party or whatever. I'm like, I'm not sure.
And for me, it's not that I'm tired of watching it, because I do enjoy it. I enjoy making the cuts, and I think I know it so well. For me, it's still like, sometimes I cringe at a mistake that I kind of made, and I'm like, I made that like too sharp.
You think you're cringing? I joke around, but like I once it's done, I can't watch it because I'll just be sitting there watching, like, what am I doing with my hand? Why am I standing like that?
Right. And then I'm like, my God, woman, stand up straight. Come on, do so. I mean, I'm very good.
It's not like, it's not a peaceful, enjoyable viewing in front of people. It's more like, you didn't see that? Like, I made a mistake right there. Like, I should have more light right here. Or like, all those production things that I see in after the fact. And I'm like, how didn't I catch that? So.
And the sad thing is that they see us on the special the way that we are to them every day, right? I have no idea that you that I was like that all the time. I don't want to know that. It's like, no, you're always like that. Really? Somebody needs to tell me to stand up straight or something. It's just we're critical. I'm looking forward to it.
And then even as a comic, like you listen to a joke and you're like, I should have said this, or you start coming up with new tags and you're like, it's over now. It's over.
Yeah, we're not watching what everybody else is watching.
That's I think for me that's what it's more about. It's about me not being able to remove myself from working on it, right? And then just kind of enjoy it the same way everybody else is. That's the hard part for me.
Yeah. Now, have you gotten this, Shayla? Because I know you're with someone, husband, boyfriend, fiance. What's the term?
Somebody you can't. Yeah, if it was a husband, I probably could divorce him, but he's not my husband yet. So we probably will be together for the rest, and we'll maybe get married at some point. Don't tell him that.
Yeah. But he's been with you long enough now where he's not like a normal person watching comedy. Like my wife Katie. She can now, like in the beginning, she'd come to shows and be like, "Oh my God, that was great!" And I was like, "Really? I hated them." And she's like, "Really?" And now she's been around it long enough where, like, I'll get off stage. She goes, "Oh, you hated all of them, huh?" I'm like, "Yup."
Absolutely. It's like, you know what? Daryl doesn't even go to the shows anymore. He's like, "Do I have to go? Come on." Yeah, it's a different thing. But you hear things differently when you're a comedian and you go to shows every night and everything. Whenever we're hearing a show we're watching the comedian. We're going, "Oh, that was so good. I know what he did there. I saw what Eric, with it. He called this thing back. I wonder how many people caught it or whatever." We're kind of looking for that. Man, that was really cool, Eric. Yeah, we're more into the deep comedy state. I think.
I would tell people, like, if you want to enjoy a comedy special, do not watch it with another comedian because we don't laugh. We're just exactly what you're doing. Like, I see what he did. Oh, yeah. That was
yeah. And our laughter is, oh, that's funny.
That's it. That's all you get.
Yeah. I've seen that. I've actually seen it like a comedy club or whatever when somebody's like, "Oh yeah, that's funny."
That's funny, right?
Like, "Oh, that's funny. I like how you did that right there."
Right. Yeah. Danny Martinez, who is a guy who owns a club, the guy that I owned the club where I developed, you would hear him in the back. If you heard a ha, that was he. Danny loved the joke, but that was it. He would not laugh more than the ha. That was it.
So wait, did you say you owned the club or that he owned the club?
He owned the club. He had a developmental club in Houston. So, I mean, I was developing there with Ralphie May, with Thea Vidal, this was a while back, and it was like the only club in Texas or in the South really that you could develop. He was developing comedians. So you would go there and he was a comedian, but he owned the club. But what he did was he would tell you, look, his first thing was move the mic stand to the back of the stage, please. So you would get all of the little insights of how to be on stage. And then he would, he was really good. He wasn't like other club owners that would tell you what to talk about. He just kind of was working on your persona on stage. He was really helpful. He was really cool. He is really cool.
So you started in Houston, Texas.
I sure did.
For some reason, I thought you started in New York.
Nope. I started in Houston. I was working in Houston and, I was actually doing stress management trainings and motivational speaking, and people would always tell me, "Oh, you should be a comedian." And I'm like, "Hey, I'm trying to be enlightening." Stupid though.
Right.
I was so offended. I really was offended. I tell the story, but I really was. The first few times that I heard it, I'm like, I must be doing something terribly wrong because people just think that I'm being funny, right? But then I got it because I didn't grow up here. I grew up in Puerto Rico. So stand-up comedy as stand-up as it is, I didn't grow up with that.
Right.
It's comedy in Espanol is different. It's it's a different kind of thing. So I started getting interested. I started looking at comedians. This is in the early 90s. So George Carlin for me was like one of the funniest people ever. And then I signed up for a seminar weekend where Judy Carter, who wrote Stand Up Comedy, the book, Judy. Okay.
Yeah.
I read that book and I ate it up. I said, okay, this is how I'm going to do it. And I wrote my jokes and I wrote a set, and she had a seminar. So I went, and that's the first time I did 5 minutes, November 7th in 93. And that moment I said, this is it. This is it for me. I love it.
Dude, yeah. I still recommend that book to this day. Cause like sometimes people hit me up on Instagram and like, oh my God, I'm thinking about doing comedy. I'm like, boom, there's nothing I can tell you that's going to help you. Get this book to start.
Get that book.
And then you're off and running.
Absolutely. That's a great book. Yeah. It sets you
up.
Awesome.
So you did the seminar, you started at this developmental club. At what point did you realize you were making some kind of progress? Because, for a while, like, people don't realize. They think you just get up on stage and, you see shows like The Marvelous Miss Maisel where she's killing it. And by episode 2, and you're like, that's not it at all. You're spinning your wheels at open mics. You're spinning your wheels at bringer shows. So at what point were you like, oh, okay, I'm on to something.
Right.
There's some momentum here.
Yeah, that weekend that I did my first 5 minutes was really cool because I got invited pretty much immediately to go and perform in San Antonio. I'll come and do 5 minutes. Now, remember, I had been on stage a lot. I mean, making presentations and doing motivational speakings and stuff like that. Not exactly like comedy, but I was comfortable enough that they invited me anyway. It wasn't, but maybe 4 weeks later, I showed up at the Comedy Showcase in Houston. It was right by my house. It was maybe 15 minutes from my home. And I heard, oh, it's a developmental club and you need to go over there. And, but Danny Martinez, he's going to make you go and watch for, a year or two before he gives you time. And I showed up the first night and I said, all right, I'm really funny. I need to go up. I don't have time to waste. And he gave me time. And, he put me on the regulars list really quickly. I mean, but I asked for it, I was older anyway. I wasn't, too afraid to say, if I'm going to come here every night, I got kids. I can't be just showing up to drink. So yeah, I think it was, I was really blessed. I was really lucky and I really liked it. I always said that comedy for me is like bringing God in the room. The feeling of, everything's okay, of peace, of it's good, things are good. Comedy comes from, well, for me, I like to, when it comes from a good place. So anyway, so that was, I loved it. I was lucky. I was blessed. And I met great people along the way, including Edwin Lecona, with whom I have done a couple of shows.
Yeah, I've seen Shayla's work throughout the years, and early 2000, mid and early 2000s. So when I had the opportunity to put this pilot together, I called you. I remember. I think I reached out to you through your website, maybe, because I didn't know how else to reach out to you. Daryl called me back.
Good old Daryl.
Daryl was like, "What is this about? What are you doing? And how did you get our phone numbers?"
No,
that's all. And then I explained to him, "Listen, I'm trying to have a pilot doing for HBO. I hope that it turns into a series, but right now it's just a pilot. But I want to show how diverse we are as Latinos and comedians. And for me, it was one of those things to like make sure that we show not only the viewing audience, but Hollywood, how diverse we are. So that's I always point at that pilot and say, look, Shayla was on there, Frankie Quinones was on there, as well as Vlad, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we put that together and look at us now. We're in our third year, right? So for me, it was like a full circle coming back when we got the green light last year at HBO headquarters. Like, we love Shayla. Let's do a half hour with Shayla. And then, I ended up giving you guys that call from New York. Like, hey, let's come full circle and let's go into this half hour and grow into that space.
Wow, you really told that story like a guy who tells the engagement story. There was no emotion, there was nothing there. It was just very. Shayla, tell us how that phone call went for you. You just really just,
hey, listen.
Dude, like when you ask a guy like, how was the engagement? It was good. I gave it a ring.
You know,
hey, look,
I don't say yes.
I want to emotional. Like,
wow. And then, you know what? Let me tell you something about Mr. Lacona over here. And I know you know this, Eric, already. But you know, Edwin you're good people. You know, I've been around in comedy now for a minute, since 93. Like I said, what's 27 years now? Time to be an overnight sensation, right? But I had left this. It's just like I had left LA by that time. I said, you know, I'm just going to do it from Texas. I wanted to live in Austin. So I moved to Austin, and I was still doing things and everything. And when you called, it was I'm like, yeah, this is great, because I mean, it really touched my heart, because somebody remembers, because you said, I know you, I've seen you, and I want you to be part of this. So it's not like, you know, oh yeah, well, somebody gave me your name. This was something that was coming from, so it meant something. That means something to me. I'm not like Eric, you know. Eric is kind of like, but I'm kidding, Eric. You know, I love you.
Listen, Eric and I had the same combo. When I reached out to Eric, he's like, how do you know who I am? I was like, I've been following you. Like, relax. He's like, you give me my number.
Yeah, how did you get this number?
Yeah, he's like, how did you get this number? And to be honest with you, and then when I called him back for his half hour, he said, are you sure? He legit, look at him. Yeah, he said.
I did. Well, because the timing. So I had just shot the Entre Nos series in November, and then I get the call. They're like, hey, we're shooting the half hours in April. And I was like, and the Entre Nos hadn't aired yet. And I was like, wait, it hasn't aired yet. Are you sure? Yeah. He's like, no. We want to do this. I was like,
yeah.
I was like, all right.
No.
He's like, you don't care. You haven't seen how the other one performed. And I was like, nah. We already saw what we wanted to see, and we want to go into that half hour space. So you want to do it or not? And I think he said, let me think about it.
He said,
yeah, let me think about it, and I'll call you back. And I said, okay. That's fine.
Yeah. No, we did the Entre Nos, and we went to New York and everything, and we had a blast, and it came out really good, and we had so much fun, and you know. But then you called me last year?
Maybe about a year and a half after.
Yeah. There you go. About a year and a half after, and there's a
half hour space. So it took me a while to get in there. But
I know you. That's right.
That's a testament to the show and the viewing audience, right? Because it started as a half-hour multi-comedian show, like 2 to 3, and then it's like, we want more. These comedians are funny. They need to do more than 10 minutes, and then it's like, we'll give them half hours, and then hours of go into that space. So that was the evolution about a year and a half after.
Right. That was but the story with my half hours when Edwin called. So. You both know, most people don't know, but I lost my son 2.5 years ago. And a year after he passed away, I woke up hearing him in my head. You know, it's such a terrible thing to go through. And, you know, your heart is just not the same. And I was going through my life. I was just, you know, clocking it in, just dialing it in. And I just kind of like lost this is after we filmed the Entre Nos. I kind of lost my spark, or I just did not see the importance of maybe doing this kind of thing. I don't know what it was, but I woke up a year after he passed, and with him in my head and my ear going, Mommy, you got to dream again. You got to get back to dreaming. You can't, you know, go on like this. This is not who you are. You're a badass. You used to call me a badass, or I just felt it so strongly. So I took a book. I told Edwin this.
Yeah.
I took a book. I said, okay, what am I dreaming? What can I dream about anymore? And I wrote some things, but one of the things I wrote, and I sent you a picture of it, is I will do my half-hour HBO special with Edwin Licona. You know, that and a few things. So I put that away, after whatever the list is. And about a month and a half, 2 months later, I'm sick at home, not COVID, just have a cold at the time. And Daryl goes, it's Edwin is on the phone. I'm like, okay, give me the phone. And he says to me, hey, Shayla, I'm about to go in and pitch some half-hour HBO specials. Can I give him your name? So I literally went, hold on, Edwin. My God. Right. So what do I do? Because at this point, I mean, I've been doing comedy for a very long time, but at that point, you guys know that you got to do comedy every night. You got to be doing comedy all the time to be sharp, to be all this. And I hadn't been. I mean, I've been on stage again and doing a lot of things, but I said, yes, let's do it. And then that night we filmed it finally, and I felt that it was awful because I think I needed to go through that. I needed to. I could not. I didn't have enough time to prepare the special that will come out someday, where I actually talk about losing my son and what's funny and what's not. And, I really want to do that, but I didn't have time to do that. And so that night I felt like an imposter as far as, how can you just get on stage and do the same or, be the comedian that you used to be? So anyway, I started thinking, well, maybe it won't come out. Maybe it won't come out. This is me. Edwin is going, no, it's funny. HBO is going, no, we loved it. But then COVID hit and I'm the pandemic. Okay, good. HBO's not going to put it out. And then he calls me and tells me, all right, it's going to come out.
Yeah. Like, hey, you want to do the screening
No. But, but then again, it's full circle. When you asked me to do an outro, and thank you, Joe. So it's interesting how it works, because Edwin said just do an outro. We have, we kind of have to change the set a little bit because of whatever. The point is that I had 3 or 4 minutes to talk, so I started talking. He said, just tell people, hey, thanks for joining me during the pandemic, whatever. But I couldn't do it. And then I said, okay, what would I say? And so I recorded this thing that you'll see at the end of my show where Edwin, it was when I was recording that, the first time that I went, oh my God, I again, I felt my son again remind me of what I used to read to him, which was The Man in the Arena by Theodore Roosevelt, which says, it's not the critic that counts. It's the person that actually gets in the arena, and maybe they'll get bloodied and, muddied and all of that stuff, but they have dared greatly. They have risked. And I realized in that moment that, maybe I don't feel it was my best that night as the comedian that I used to be, but it was my best that night. And that was it.
Yeah. And I want to add to that because you said you felt that it was awful, and it wasn't that. I think that because the show wasn't awful, but I think that that you could have done better. And that there's a show in your mind that you want to execute. And I just heard it right now. And I want to work with you on that one because, to be honest with you, that show is what I one day hope that we're promoting, probably in a year from now, because I think it needs to happen. My favorite part about Eric, and he can talk about it a little bit, and while I was editing his first Entre Nos thing, is a very touching moment about him and losing his father. And it was a real moment on stage where he's talking about how he dealt with it. And there's some comedy in it, but the comedy in it is in a way where Eric didn't make me feel guilty for laughing at it. And I told him, I was like, hey, this is a skill. Like, I understand your pain, and I understand that probably I shouldn't be laughing at this because it's not a laughing matter, but the way you articulating this and the way you're presenting it, like, you're making me feel like it's okay for me to laugh. And then there's a moment too where Eric says, like, go ahead, guys, laugh. This is me dealing with it, but you can go ahead and laugh with it, So I want to work on that, especially that you're talking about, because that's you. That's the reality.
Right.
That takes the strength what you did. Like, I know for you, you're like, oh, I didn't feel my best, but I totally understand that feeling. You get up on stage, you're sort of going through the motions. You're almost out of your body watching yourself tell these jokes that you've been doing, and you're like, what am I doing up here? Like, this is not how I feel.
Right.
This is not what, like for the longest time I was still telling jokes about my parents' marriage and them arguing. And I'm like, my father's not even around. Like, what am I doing? And then it finally, that first step of me going, hey guys, my dad died. And just watching the audience go, what's happening right now?
Right.
And even me not being sure about that material when I first started doing it, like the first couple times I attempted it, I would tear up and I'm like, nope, not ready. Nope, we're not doing that. No.
Hold it back.
Yeah. Well, so traffic's crazy, right? Like that's.
Yeah, I think I wasn't the same. You're not the same person. I wasn't. I was on stage, but I wasn't that person anymore. I had lost the greatest part of me, right? So it's like, that's why I'm saying I was kind of like walking this imposter line. And I had been writing some stuff about it, but I wasn't ready to do it yet. I wasn't. The pain was too deep, but it's healing, and it's that's how we heal. We heal really through laughter, and not laughing at the terrible event, but it's almost like commiserating or really relating to knowing what it feels like to be in pain, or to that you feel so sad that you lose your wallet and you can't find it, the type of thing. There's
it's funny because it's therapeutic for the performer, for you to find that strength and to start talking about what you've gone through. Same as when I talked about losing my father, like it's therapeutic for you, but it's also therapeutic for the audience, because sometimes you don't know what they're going through. Like when I first started bringing up the stuff about his passing, I was kind of blown away by the amounts of people that would come up to me and go, oh my God, I just lost my parent a couple weeks ago. I lost my parent a couple months ago. I lost my parent a year ago. And I totally understand what you're going through. Thank you for talking about it. And it was like, whoa, like it was beautiful to see that I was helping them and they were helping me get through it.
Yeah, I've seen that a lot too. Whenever I started sharing the loss, whether I was doing a keynote or whether I was doing whatever I was doing, I was blown away by, because I don't want people to think that I just want, to feel sorry for me or anything like that. But that's what people did. They came and said, thank you for sharing that. I lost my daughter, or I lost this. And it's just in that moment, I see these beautiful angels coming together. It's like they're both there. Every parent that has come to me telling me about it, knowing that when your heart just rips, like that, it's just a different thing. When you lose somebody like your parent or your child or something like that, it's really one of those formative moments for you. But it's like we can't share them. It's almost like we can't talk about them. It's like don't say anything. And and my son, caused his own death. He did not do it on purpose, but he did it. And I know that it was a lot of pain because we don't share our stories. We don't talk anymore. And I think we need to, at the bottom of every suicide and mental health issue is a story not shared. That's all. We don't know how to sit down anymore and share. I don't care how dark your story is, how many mistakes you made, but people are, apprehensive to share. There's no judgment here. Just, we just have to get it out sometimes, and it's good to share. I think it's good. And I think they have a party up there in heaven whenever people like us come together and remember them.
Well, I will say I'm happy that you listened to him and you're dreaming again, Shayla. It was beautiful to be there for that taping, and I can't wait for the world to see It's Not Rocket Science come out October 9th. It's a beautiful special. You may think you were horrible that night. I was there. You did a great job, and I can't wait for everybody to see what we all saw.
And I just want people to remember that this is just hopefully the beginning, that we get to do it again. And
I can't wait to see that new special
that you have in your head. I want to don't stop writing.
I'm not.
Figure out a way to execute it, and let's.
I haven't.
That's your director right there. Look. He directed it.
There you go. You got it.
Directed. No, listen, that's what he was doing at the show, like behind the scenes, because he's trying to learn that space. And just like how you said about, I forgot his name, that you said he helped cultivate talent and with comedians in Houston. Like I feel like comedians, like a director comedian that likes that space and understands that space, can help bring out the best out of the comedian before filming. Like, hey, like this is what I need you to do, and this is how I need you to react to the cameras. Like all that stuff that I personally probably can't do because I'm not a comic, but I could tell him the other stuff. Like I need. That's why I need Eric. You know, like that's why, and the fact that he wants to learn, you know, and do it, and that's a great skill to have as well.
But the superpower that Eric and you have, so you are genuinely good people. You're good people. It just meaning that you know you really are doing it because we can do this, and we can do it. You're coming from the right place and for the right reasons. And I mean, having been in comedy as long as I have, you can smell that a mile away. And I love working with you guys. I do. Every time I work with Eric, I love it because he's pretty to look at, you know, and he'll tell you all about it.
Gas him up, please.
You know what I'm saying?
Sistine Chapel. Edward's Sistine Chapel, man.
Look at him. Stop gassing them up, please. You don't understand. I'm gonna get texts about that. Like, how do you tell me no? Look how pretty I am.
Listen.
No, it's good. It's good. I kind of left LA at the time because it was kind of like dealing with too much intensity, but then beauty found me, Eric.
Oh, I love it.
So yeah, I am very grateful, and you know that I've said that, and I mean it from the bottom of my heart. It's a long road, and HBO special was always my dream to happen and to feel like, oh my God, that's what I did. But that's me. Yeah. See, you know how
it's gonna be our hardest critics. Yeah,
right. We're all, but it just all that night. I was like, it's like healing. It was like I hit.
It needed to happen. It needed to happen.
It needed to happen.
It's part of the journey. It needed to happen.
Totally.
Start thinking about it just that way, that it's just part of the journey. And then let's move ourselves into that other special.
Yeah, the other side.
Other special. And are we even able to talk about what you're doing on Monday, next Monday?
Me?
Yeah.
What I'm doing? Yes, I think we can. I think it's on Tuesday.
Yeah. Oh, it's on Tuesday or Monday?
And they're going to do it Tuesday. Yeah, they're going to tease it on Monday. Shayla will be on the Today Show. What?
Whoa, that's amazing.
And I'm not even as pretty as Eric.
Prettier.
No, look, ever since this happened and you called and said, you know, it's going to come out, and I kind of hit a wall again. It's like, I filmed that outro. It's like I said, okay, I'm at peace with it. And I know that my son is orchestrating out there. He's just like putting all these things together. I'm like, look at all this stuff, beautiful stuff that's happening. It's
and just keep reminding yourself that this is. I think you know, I dealt with I did it with Eric, and I also did with Orlando. And when the stars align and things just happen, and everything's moving in one direction, like it's meant to happen. You know, they show a couple other things that you're working on, some podcast, everything, all leading up, and everybody seems to also gravitate towards that last 3-minute video, that personal video, and like I think it's just real. Like people can relate to it, and they understand it, and I think that's where it's connecting as well.
Well, it's definitely real, you know. I mean, when people ask me what's the message you want to give, sorry, Eric, I'm gonna shut you up.
No, go ahead.
The message is, you know, keep dreaming. We got to keep dreaming.
100%.
Got to keep going. You know, I know life will knock you on your behind many times, and sometimes it's hard to get up. Just got to keep, you know, get up and a la lucha.
I want to take this opportunity now because we are talking about mental health. We're talking about the dreaming, and sometimes within the culture, it's stuff that's not really reinforced.
Mhm.
We have a special guest. She's actually a big she supported Entre Nos. She supported when I started Brownish at the Laugh Factory, and she's actually starting a webinar talking about mindfulness called Presently Aquí. Let's bring her in, Claudia Torres.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. Being presently aquí estamos. Hi, Claudia.
Yeah.
Hi, Shayla. It was
Claudia.
hard to oh my God, I'm gonna be on. I can't cry for
Hi,
Shayla right now. Woo! But my deepest condolences to you, and thank you, Eric, and thank you, Edwin. I love you guys. You guys have been my foundation, my stone, and what Shayla was talking about, how you guys are so amazing, so supportive to our community is like the words don't even capture it, right, Shayla? It's just like these men are just like, wow.
It's love, baby.
Thank you.
No,
stop gassing that window.
Okay.
Hey, no, supreme letter for me. Regular letter for Eric.
If Edwin had a tie right now, he'd be doing this thing. Oh, well,
I'm saying.
No, I think what Claudia is doing is important, and not only for everybody else, but especially in the entertainment industry, and you guys, the comedians, and being so idle right now and can't be on the road or seeing a couple of things that other comedians may be doing that themselves are not doing. Like, it could kind of create some sort of, I don't want to call it inferior, but like it kind of could create a space of like they're not doing enough. So I've had conversations with Claudia. It's like, what is your webinar about? Like, is there anything that you want to come in here and talk to us about? And anything that you can educate us in that space, because you're right. When you were talking earlier, Shayla, about we don't talk about our stories or we don't talk about our pain. Claudia is out there to try to figure out a way, like, let's talk about it and let's figure out what needs to be done, and how to make everybody comfortable to talk about things, amongst other projects that she's working on.
Yeah, and what Edwin's saying is why I kind of created it, because I've been a mindful person for over 15 years, but this is just something that naturally came to me. But I started to see that that's not something that there's an awareness in our community, where even talking about grief, even moving here, having the Mexican tradition of the Dia de los Muertos, like celebrating the dead. Yes, we should be doing that. We shouldn't. It's gonna be sad, so we should make it a little lighthearted, and they've done that, and I go every year, and I thankfully have not lost a family member, but I've lost my cat, and I've had him for 13 years, and that was hard. And what I've learned from that experience is that you have to accept all the emotions that are going to come to you. There's also no limit on when grief ends. You have to be self-forgiving. Don't judge yourself. Things will happen when it's meant to be. Obviously, that's easier said. When you're in it, it's like you can't see it, but it does open and unravel. And you have to also, the biggest thing is that you become a new person, because you can't be that old person you once were when they were alive, and you become this new person. And it takes a moment. It takes you a while to, who is this new person? What does that mean now that I have to live a new life without? And sadly, it's going to continuously happen, right? As we get older, we're going to have to continuously create new selves, because we're going to continuously lose people. However, with that said, the mindfulness that I created, it's a Latinx mindfulness 101, just creating basics. Like, what are your emotions? What does that feel like in your body? And paying attention to what the thoughts that come across, your self-talk. How are you talking to yourself when you are down? How are you when you are even happy? Are you allowing yourself to be happy? So all of these things just came about because I started realizing, oh, people are not like me. They're not introspective. They're not sitting down, breaking their day and be like, all right, this is what I learned. This is what I know. And I also taught kids yoga. So I had all this in front of me. I was like, oh, I can actually do this. And once I did a webinar for the Latinistas who are sponsoring my first webinar, I called Eric and Edwin immediately. I was just vibrating, like buzzing, like, I think I found it. I think I found what I'm here for. I'm here to share this knowledge that I see that we don't have. And like with the comedians, what talking to Edwin, all the conversations we had, and I've been watching you guys since day one on the Brownish. Yeah. So I've gathered, what goes on, and with the pandemic, I think it's gonna happen regardless or not, where we feel a little bit less of ourselves. And like, if I'm a comedian, I'd be like, oh, well, Eric is doing this, I'm not really doing that. And it's okay. You shouldn't be shaming those thoughts. Just, it's okay. Mm-hmm. But the next thought should be, how are you correcting this? If you want to feel what Eric is feeling or what he's accomplishing, what are you doing? So the questions need to be coming back to you, not so much directing it to the person who's being successful.
So you're blaming Eric for launching 6 shows during the pandemic, and
Eric
feeling bad about themselves that they're at home, right?
I didn't want to say it that way, but that's my mom.
I blame Eric too. Like he's making other comedians. So, how many shows did you launch this 6 months?
Well, I always say this: you can't focus on what everyone else is doing, because number one, I think a lot of comedians are going through a tough time right now because a lot of our identities attached to what we do, and what we do is not existent right now. There is no stand-up comedy, So if you don't put these blinders on, there, and it's hard for comedians to do that because it's human nature to look to see what somebody else is doing. Like I could easily look at Shayla like, oh, she's dropping a half hour. I'm not dropping nothing this month, and sort of spiral out.
Right.
So I've taken the motivation to go, all right, what can I do to be busy and sort of create this creative outlet to sort of help me. But I've had comics reach me on DMs like, yo, how are you handling this? How are you doing so well? And I'm like, I'm not, but I'm trying to make the best I can out of what I've got in front of me. I've got this laptop, I've got my phone. Like I'm trying to find those outlets, and you should too. Don't sit around because it's tough right now.
It is tough. You have to be accepting. You really have to accept, like, as much as I love being on stage, that's not a choice right now. What can I do that's close to it maybe? What can I do that satisfies me in that way? And just kind of just sit there with those questions for yourself. How can I feel that again with this new, which is also the same for me. Like I miss people. I miss talking and hugging you guys every month. But it's just came about, and just realizing, oh, actually, I can still talk to people. I can still come across this presence that I can share and the knowledge that I know through this medium with Presently Aquí. So it's just mostly that, like, how can, even with both of you, how can we work together? If you're struggling, let's say, Edwin, how can we help you? Maybe we can have a little chat, rely on your outlets, your friends, whoever is around you, right, Shayla? So it's just having that and writing down, even if you have to write down, who are your friends? Tony, Samantha, just so who can you rely on specific areas in your life.
Well, the conversation of having her come in and talk a little bit about it happened from a mutual friend of ours, had a pretty big project in the works. Then due to the pandemic, everything that's on hold, and that got pushed away. And that comedian, that entertainer, instead of like kind of feeling sad about it, I mean, not that you probably should harp on it. He just said, "Oh, it's okay." Like, kind of like shined it off, right? But we're like, "No, it's okay if you're a little sad about that, because that was a nice opportunity, and that is something that could have elevated your entire career. And the fact that it's not happening should hurt, and acknowledge it instead of just saying like, no, I'm gonna think positive thoughts and kind of shoo it away." So I called her and I was like, is that toxic? Is it like toxic just to say like, it's I'm just gonna think positive and it'll go away, And I think that's how that entire conversation of us talking about this and bringing around the show. Like I know a lot of comedians are going through some tough times. They're not talking about it, and they just think positive thoughts. And everything.
I'm just gonna repost Gary V and be all right, baby. That's
But there's a whole lot to that. I mean, there's a whole lot to what your thoughts are. If you're present, you have to, you talked about, Claudia, we have to unexamined life is not worth living, right? That's Socrates. I'm dropping some Socrates.
Oh, somebody went to college.
somebody I used to sit with him. I was a long time ago, but then we don't do any self-reflection. To be present, you have to reflect, and it's kind of like you got to pay attention to yourself. And there's nothing wrong with trying to be positive, but you got to be genuine about it. You got to be authentic about it. You know, when this pandemic started, a lot of students would tell me, "Oh my God, I've never gone through anything like this before." And I'm going, nobody has. Nobody has. So we kind of tend to go into victim mentality sometimes because we learned it. But to unlearn it, you got to pay attention. You know, I like to give the analogy of the juice. So if I squeeze an orange, what comes out of the orange? Eric, tell me.
Well, it depends. If you got a good orange, you get the juice. If not, then you get pulp and a bunch of seeds. It's not good.
Something like that.
You got to roll them. It depends.
What kind of juice do you get?
Orange juice.
Why?
Because it's an orange.
Okay, kind of. So the analogy is this. It's a spiritual analogy.
I love
it. When you squeeze an orange, you get orange juice. Why? Because that's what's inside. That's what's in there. That's what the orange has inside. So when times get really tough and you're squeezed, because we're all being squeezed. Is that right? Right now.
Accept it.
I'm saying it. So you take it and it's okay how you respond. It's okay how you react, but pay attention. Right. Wow. Is this my juice? I need to pay attention to my juice and just kind of start. That's how you start. You start going, some people get really negative. It's like, why would somebody else is not? So there you go. Squozing.
Right here tonight.
New word.
Yeah, pay attention.
Well, Eric is saying it's something we're taught. So we're thinking it's okay and it's fine, but really it's not. And we compartmentalize that emotion. We're like, it's fine, and then we move on. Yeah. But it's not how it should be. But that's why I created this, so we can take it just starting from nothing. Like start paying attention little by little each day. Like, what are you saying? What are you doing? Because we are on automatic pilot most of the time. And that's where we kind of spiral down. Like Eric was saying, we end up spiraling down in this negative place. And it's just kind of giving people this foundation in ourselves. Like, okay, right. We are number one. And if we don't have number one, how can I help number 2 or 3 and 5 and 7, right? So I just really wanted to start very basic, even being aware, like, oh, it's fine. That's a thought. You're like, wait, but is it though? Is it fine? It's not. And let's talk about it. Right. And having those conversations. So
what are you in relation to whatever's going on? That's it.
Well, I love that. So what day is the webinar? How can people find out more information?
The webinar is next Tuesday at 5 p.m. Pacific and 8 p.m. Eastern time. I always get them confused. So it's next Tuesday. And it's Presently Aquí, the mindfulness webinar. And it's free, so please tell everybody. And the concept that I created with the 3 panelists is to have the third panelist as an ally panelist from a different race or background. So that way they can also be the bridge to their people, to our people. Mm-hmm. So
Very
so
nice.
Next Tuesday.
Very good.
Yeah, I'm excited. And the link is on my bio, so you could just sign up, reserve your spot, tell your abuelitas, tell your tias, everybody that you feel that might need just a little reflection, self-reflection, self-awareness within themselves that it's hard to get to. Yeah.
Yes, definitely. Go check it out. Not only because Claudia's a friend, but this is, I think, something that's very necessary, especially now during the pandemic. A lot of us, we deal with stuff by just putting it away and not communicating with ourselves of like, this is how I'm feeling, and all that stuff just sits there and it starts building. It's not good. It's not good.
Right.
And that's also why I started it, because if I'm very self-reflective and internalized and all this wonderful stuff, I had moments. I got a little depressed, and I was like, oh, there's no way to plan a pandemic or all these things that we're going through. It's no way to know how you're going to react. Impossible.
Yeah. Don't let the smile fool you. I've had those moments too. Don't let me.
Right. Exactly.
You train yourself, though. You train yourself through life. You train yourself. If you're present and mindful and all of that, it can happen. Because, if I'm sitting here and I'm not knocked on my behind right now, I'm evidence. And I think that everybody has the same evidence in their life, but unless you take the pen and write a little bit and think about it and stuff, you're not going to find it. You got to go mining that story and finding all the amazing things the pearls, baby, so that you can share them.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right, before we wrap up, last thoughts on rocket science. How did you come up with the name, Shayla? Can you?
Well, because since we haven't talked about it, well, I happen to have a degree in aerospace engineering. I worked for NASA for a very long time, and before comedy and before other things. So yeah, I mean, it's not rocket. When you study aerospace, you're a rocket scientist. Everybody goes, it doesn't take a rocket scientist. You can stub your toe, and people go, "Hey, it doesn't take a rocket scientist." What does that have to do with anything? But
by the way. My mom, I think you met my mom on the first pilot episode, but my mom loves you, but my mom thinks you're an astronaut.
I don't even correct people anymore. Yes, I am.
She was looking at me, looking at your, watching your show. She goes, "I love the astronaut. You did a show with that?" Like, yeah.
Well, I do have a joke that I wanted to be an astronaut, so maybe that's what it is.
Hey, listen.
I think I went to see you, right? I think that's where I met Eric, and I think I saw you, Shayla. It was great at the end.
It was fun. Yeah, it's all the shows are fun. Eric, you know why? Because you guys are good people, and that's why you bring in all that good energy into the shows. I really believe that. I believe that.
Something here.
So definitely, people, go see Shayla Rivera. It's not rocket science. Streaming October 9th on HBO Max. I was there. It was phenomenal. I can't wait for you guys to see it. I'm wishing you nothing but the best, Shayla.
Thank you.
And
I'm serious. We need to start working on that new special.
Yes, and we're not done with each other.
No, we're not.
No,
we're not. He's gonna direct right there. He's gonna direct.
Right.
That's the beginning.
Right there.
Yeah. He's directing the next special right there.
What kind of director are you? I mean, are you mean? Because come on.
Not at all. You've seen me in this hour. Yeah.
Definitely.
And then Tuesday,
give him a lot of green maca coffee things.
Wow.
Like he definitely did that. I will tell you that. That much.
I love it. I can't wait.
I feel personally attacked here. You know what? I'm gonna
sign
you
love,
up for the
man,
webinar.
We love you. That's what it is.
And don't forget, Tuesday's a big day. You can sign up for Claudia's webinar, Presently Aquí. Go check it out on Instagram. Sign up. It's free. And our Shayla Rivera is going to be on the Today Show.
The Today Show.
She has her IG right there, Presently Aquí. So just log in.
Please log in.
There you go.
Tuesday's a big day for us, Shayla.
ShaylaRivera.com.
Everyone just gave away his age by pointing at the screen, like everybody could see, like right, Nita, right? Right there. Right?
You see why these are good people? They just will not relent. Just calling it out.
Thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you go see Shayla. Go sign up for the webinar.
Yes.
And we will catch you next Wednesday again with another episode of the Comedians of Entre Nos. Have a good one, everybody.
Bye.